up, Lauren?
Hi, Kalea.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderfully. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Welcome to the first ever episode of The Whores in Room 6.
The Whores in Room 6. Who
Yep.
questions? Why the
Ooh.
name? You'll find out later.
You'll find out. But one thing we should tell you right off the get-go is there will be swears in this podcast. There
Content
will be
disclaimer is what we're supposed to use, right?
it's a content disclaimer.
There will be some fucking ass swears.
We like the fuck word a lot.
Just right in the disclaimer. We gotta throw them out there.
We're going to use the fuck word a lot, and we're going to talk about weird sex times and generally adult topics. So probably, I would say don't let your kids listen.
Don't if
Or
you
do,
know,
I
it's
don't
like
know.
I don't understand that we are both not mothers. So
As
I
a
don't know.
non-parent, follow your heart.
Follow your heart, but let them listen so that they can hear about all
So
the
that they
things
may
that they
learn.
shouldn't do as an adult. But that's our disclaimer.
So Lauren, where are
Mhm.
you from?
I'm from a place called Chattanooga, Tennessee. Have you ever heard of it?
I do believe it's the home of the first Coca-Cola bottling company, is it not?
Not only that, Clea.
What else?
There's this. This is probably for another podcast, but wine of Cardui
Wine of Cardui.
for a tincture for the ladies and their menses.
For the menses.
This is something I just found out recently when I was trying to find out cool things about where I'm from
Ooh.
to tell you about.
Yeah, for if you have a wandering uterus, wine of Cardui.
Or a dropping uterus, I think is what they called it.
General hysteria. Apparently it treated a lot.
Treat a lot. I think their husbands were probably taking a little nip every now and then.
Of course they were.
What about you, Clea? Where are you from?
So I'm from a place in Northern California called Humboldt County, which apparently
Ooh.
they're-
Wait a minute.
they've-
Humboldt County. That sounds familiar. Didn't they do a documentary series on that?
You may have heard of it on a lovely little Netflix documentary called Murder Mountain. So, unbeknownst to me, in my cloistered, homeschooled Christian upbringing, I did not realize that, in fact, Humboldt County is part of the Emerald Triangle, as they call it, which is a
Wait a
heavy
minute, wait.
weed-producing region.
It's called the what?
The Emerald Triangle. So it's
Emerald?
Emerald, like green.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's Humboldt County, Mendocino County, and some other county that I don't recall. I think it's the one that's in the southern Humboldt
So you're like
area.
the princess of...
I'd pretend to be that, but I didn't realize that it wasn't just a lot of skunks until I was about 19. I just thought we had a heavy skunk population in
Yeah,
Humboldt.
so where your princess... You're like, what does that smell, Mom and Dad? And they're like, that is
You know,
the
I don't know.
skunks of Humboldt County.
I don't know that I ever asked, but I just sort of assumed that because they have sort of a similar... Marijuana and skunk scent have a vaguely similar smell.
They're similar.
Not by much, but...
But your parents are very aware of the skunking scent that was
to be honest, I've never
flying
asked them.
around in that area, right?
I'm really not sure. If I'm
I
being
feel like we should
fully
write that
frank.
down for questions. to
Questions
ask.
for parents. Yeah. Did y'all know it was a weed-grown region? I do not know. Jesus, take the wheel. Did you realize you were raising your conservative 9 children in a very weed-heavy region? God only knows. We're going to find out, though.
Do you think they were smoking weed on the side?
No, definitely not.
You don't think so?
No, my dad is so deeply transparent.
Write down some questions.
Yeah, write down some questions. My dad has an inability to lie.
I just realized
in
that this is
general.
a colored pencil, not
It's
a real pencil.
It's a colored pencil. It doesn't quite
It's
work.
It's another.
It's a non-sharpened colored pencil.
Okay. So why did we start this podcast? I feel like this is a nice moment to...
Well, I feel like we both escaped some pretty toxic relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Strangely enough, it coordinated with the pandemic, the healing times, the breaking up and the healing times.
Ooh, the healing times.
I tell you what. And strangely enough, we both have had the same therapist since just before beginning of
Dr.
pandemic.
Dan.
Dr. Dan.
The man.
We love Dr. Dan. He's been phenomenal.
He uses behavioral therapy, which is a new one.
It's called ACT therapy. It's basically the concept is that you are the context for your emotions. So when emotions come up, you can see them and recognize them and choose to fuse with them.
And you
or
name
not.
them. You can name them like...
You can give them silly names.
You have a sad feeling, you call them Sally.
Yeah, Sad Sally. And you can be like,
Sad
oh,
Sally.
Hi, Sad Sally. I'm going to choose to not.
I'm not
Fuse with
actually
you.
sad. We got a sad Sally feeling coming
We
up.
got a
and
Sad
then
Sally feeling. We can tell her, go and get Sad Sally.
Go on, get sad Sally. Yep.
You are not here for my enjoyment. Get out.
Basically, Clea went through a big breakup.
Yeah, a 12-year relationship ended.
And my brother and my sister-in-law live in Ecuador.
Mm-hmm.
She is from Ecuador. And I've been there 5 times.
Yeah, so you had
5 times I've been there.
That's a lot of times.
Every time with my family.
So you vacationed there, basically. You didn't really travel there. You vacationed there.
We'll put vacation in quotes. But yes, and I have never had the opportunity to perhaps travel with a friend.
So we kind of figured once we did some healing times and all that, we then had some free space in our lives open up, and we decided, let's go do some traveling. And Ecuador just seemed like the first logical option because your brother was there. There's some familiarity, but it's also different enough than like, let's go travel across the United States.
I knew enough to like tell you how to get through the whole process.
Yeah, it was enough to be exciting and interesting and fun, but also not completely, totally foreign and strange. Like there were some connections there that made it a little easier.
Safety feelings with it, but holy God, did we experience some shit?
Did we ever?
We got a one-way ticket.
Yeah, we both
which
did.
I had never done that, like, just to another country.
I mean, I thought I'd be there for 3 weeks tops. So we ended up being there for almost 3 months.
I think I even, like, gave you some bullshit advice. I was like, well, let's get a one-way because that's the way to do it. But I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about, but I thought it would sound cool.
I mean, it did. I did that thing. So, I mean, evidently it worked. You sound so confident. Jesus.
And we just decided that we were going to stay there as long as we could. I mean, aside from when the visa was going to come up.
Right.
And we basically lived a lifetime within, for me, 3 months, you, two
yeah,
months.
2.5, give or take.
Yeah. Traveling in your 30s, no kids, no marriage.
Oh, my God, it's the best.
I think that's where we're trying to start this podcast.
Yeah, because we realized, you know what, this is hilarious and ridiculous, and we're encountering all sorts of strange barriers and issues we never thought we would.
We used to bartend, so we were used to people coming in telling us stories, and we were always stuck behind the bar and wondering, God damn, I wish I could experience that.
Yeah, it's one thing just to be the person who gets all the stories, like we both got really good at cracking people and getting them to tell us their tales.
Everyone wants to tell their tales.
Everyone's got stories, and they all, it turns out, want to talk about it.
Yeah, and we love hearing those. And this is the first time we've ever gotten behind, what do they call it, the helm?
Yeah, we're at the helm of this traveling.
We're getting behind the helm.
Ooh, look at us. Behind the helm?
Or whatever you call it. I don't know.
Isn't the helm just like the front of a ship? I don't really know.
I always say that when
behind
they're
the
talking
wheel?
to bartenders. Like, they're like, oh, you're behind the whatever.
Or behind the stick.
I
never know.
Stick.
I never understood why like the bar was called the stick.
Working it's just
because
you're trapped there, so you have to hear people's stories.
Pretty
Sometimes
much.
they're great.
Sometimes they're great. Sometimes they aren't. Sometimes you hear about like an old dude who was like a math teacher at a local community college who tells you his entire tale about going to Nevada to get a prostitute at the Bunny Ranch because he's been so fucking lonely for so many years.
Which is amazing. And we love those stories. We want more.
That's the shit we crave.
We want to hear that shit. And we're not judgmental. Like,
no, and we're good at cracking people. We're good at getting to, like, you ask the right questions.
That is the truth.
One of my favorite things is you just ask people outlandish fucking shit, and you say, so you don't have to tell me, or you say, hey, tell me about like all the sexual partners you had. Like, you don't have to tell me the answer. Like, you can tell me to fuck right off. But more often than not, you ask those ridiculous questions, people will fucking answer you because they want to tell their shit.
And we want to hear it. And there's absolutely no judgment behind that, actually. Like,
not at all. I mean, we don't give a shit.
Especially during a time when we were stuck in homes in quarantine, in a time where everything was so scary. Who would want to tell their stories?
Absolutely.
Want to hear it. So I think we're starting this podcast because we want to travel more and we want to hear everyone's stories.
Yeah. And also, you know, we traveled for, I mean, relatively a short amount of time, but kind of a long amount of time. And in our travels, we did pick up we got some hard-earned travel tips that we would like to share with you, because there's nothing like being on a bus for 12 hours with no ability to pee behind a bush to make you realize, you know what the fuck I need? This Amazon product which makes my vagina able to pee like a penis in a random spot.
We got the PP, what do you call it?
It's called like I don't remember. Like
this episode is brought to you by
We Know.
We Know.
I'm pretty sure that's not the name, but it should be. But things like that and stuff like how to get a passport in a short amount of time if you have to. Like, we don't know everything. Don't get us wrong.
Like I said, this is our first like truck doing this kind of thing, and we want to do it more. But we would like to hear from other people and their stories and advice that you can give.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear
stories. God damn, we love those stories.
God, we love the stories. Everyone has a story to tell.
Everybody does.
Even the least interesting, oldest person, the strangest person, whoever it is, everyone has a story. And when you can, you know, worm your little way into their hearts or souls or whatever and get them to tell you that story.
Fucking love it.
Oh, my God. Creams my curtains every time.
So I think the whole point of this podcast is stories about traveling.
Stories about traveling from us, from others. Tips we can give, tips we can garner for y'all from other people. We're just here for the stories and the good times.
And the hilarity. We love the fucking hilarity behind everything.
Yes.
The darker, the better, I think.
The darker, the better. And we're the type, we've both been through fair amounts of trauma, as everyone has. And what we both have decided is like the way we'd like to live our life is dark things
Humor.
come up. You can either laugh or cry. We prefer to laugh.
We definitely prefer, laugh and a cry.
Sometimes
Good
they go
combo.
hand in hand.
But yeah, more laughing, the better.
Because life's shit sometimes, and people are shit, and situations are shit. And if you can't find some sort of humor in it, it doesn't feel like a waste. But to me, it feels like a bit of a waste.
Yeah, I think laughing throughout it is better. I'd like to live through this. So welcome
To the whores
in room 6. You'll learn about that later.
Yep, we're gonna tell that story. It's gonna be amazing.
Welcome. This is episode 0.
Woohoo!